Hello and peace to everybody. This is Sue, and I'm here with Miss Baba. And today, we're going to be reviewing Kendrick Lamar to Pimp, a Butterfly. And I'm glad we took a little bit of time to review this, because there's a lot of things to comprehend in this album. Now, I could set off my opinion, but they say ladies first. So, Miss Baba, what was your overall opinion on this album?
So you killing me. Like, seriously, I can't even get to the album reviews before I even mention that voice of yours. What was that? Trying to sound all smooth like a freaking Barry White. What was that?
If he could do different voices in the album, how come I can't do a different voice, I thought I set it off with a different voice. There's a reason I did this, because if you listen to the album, Kendrick does several different voices, and a lot of times they represent a different character. So I just wanted to start off the review like that. So, but seriously, what was your overall opinion on this album?
Alright, thank you so much for clearing that out, because I didn't know what was going on. But in any event, overall I think that Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly was a really beautiful piece. And it was an overall compilation of a lot of things that had subliminal messages and also innuendo-esque messages in there as well. Like, you will see, like, a few of the songs, he would mention things that have, like, sexual connotations to them, but then there's also an underlying message that he was trying to get across. Some of my favorite songs was For Free and King Kuta, and also The Blacker the Berry. How about you?
Well, I have several different feelings on this album. When I first listened to it, I was in the car. So, I was in the car. I didn't get the full grasp of the album because I was doing other things. And this is not really an album, in my opinion. You listen to just bumping in your whip. You can, but you won't get the full lyrical content of what he was trying to do. So when I actually got back to the crib and I put on my headphones and I was actually able to zone out to it and actually grasp the concept, I liked the album a lot better. So my initial thoughts on the album to when I listened to it a few more times actually changed. I don't know if it was similar to you, or did you just like it right off the bat?
Honestly, I did like it right off the bat. A lot of the songs, especially in the beginning, it had that little G-funk when he had George Clinton on there. And it was, I don't know, it was something that was very unexpected from him, or anyone, honestly, at this time, and of his background. But I thought it was a breath of fresh air to have something a little bit different and unique in a sense. Overall, I did like it. I did want to say that, like, a lot of the songs, it would be hard to understand the songs if you think of them as, like, separate pieces. Like, I think it's very important for everyone to listen to the whole song, preferably in sequence from the beginning to the end, because it's an overall body of work. And then you'll get the general idea. If you listen to one song out of the bunch, it's kind of like reading one sentence out of a story. Like, you can understand it for what it is, but until you get the full context of what came before and after, will you understand exactly what he meant in each thing. But how do you feel?
Yeah, I do agree. The album seemed to go, just flow together. It was similar to kind of Good Kid, Mad City, because Good Kid, Mad City kind of flowed similarly, but I think he took it to another level with this one. Each song kind of flows to the next. If you really listen, even like, say, the third track, King Kunta, it doesn't seem like on first listen King Kunta flows into Institutionalized, but it does, because on the second verse he talks about how he was thinking about getting off stage and basically going back to the hood just to tell his enemies basically the hook of King Kunta, So it kind of flows into institutionalized because, what do institutionalized mean? If you break down the words, basically like, he basically getting trapped in his old ways. Mm-hmm. So it flows for each song. Also, like, he did something I never heard before in the album. He did the poem, or at least like, part of the poem in between each few songs. And if you listen to that, the little piece he spoke, the song was basically about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I found that very interesting. I never heard that done before. Maybe it has been, but I thought that was real unique. And what really got me was the last song, Mortal Man. When the first time I heard it, I just didn't expect the interview with Tupac. Caught me off guard. I was like, "What's this?" I was like, "This is." I like, okay. I just didn't expect it, and I definitely like at the end when he basically break down the title, because I didn't know what he was getting at when he named it To Pimp a Butterfly.
Exactly.
I thought that was a weird
what is
title.
That?
Like, yeah, when you first heard the title of the album, what did you think of that title?
I just thought about, I forgot the name of that old school movie, but I just thought about, like Superfly or somebody, or something, like wearing a pair of fish stilettos, like the stilettos with the high heel stilettos with fish in them. I don't know, like with butterflies all over. I had no idea. Like, I was just lost. I was lost for words.
Yeah, but if you listen to the album, right at the end, he kind of break down the title of the conflict between, the caterpillar and the butterfly.
Yeah.
And, basically once you get comfortable, you get to embrace kind of both sides of it, because a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. Mm-hmm. But so I thought that poem at the end was really unique. Everything about this album was unique. I give him that. Any standout cuts for you?
Like I mentioned earlier, For Free was just hilarious, because just the wording of the whole song, this dick ain't free. It's just hilarious, and I don't know, that just stood out to me, because at first I was like, I was thinking he was, speaking literally, but then, after giving it a few listens, I was able to realize that it was a lot deeper than I initially thought.
Right.
What did you think that it meant?
See, I kind of got it from the beginning, although I didn't get it fully, because when I first listened to it, I didn't particularly love the beat on it. Mm-hmm. But, I knew he was saying some deep lyrical content in it. So I gave it a few listens, and right in the beginning, you hear the female talking in the beginning, talking about, yeah, he didn't even buy me nothing for the 4th.
Exactly.
In the 4th.
Can I just say she sounds like a straight up bird?
Right, but in my opinion, I think he was talking about, not even think, obviously he was talking about, this country in America. Mm-hmm. So, you didn't get me nothing for the 4th of July, Independence Day. Because I heard on some comments, some people was like, oh, yeah, that's not deep, this dick ain't free, and like, it just totally went over some people's head.
Yeah, and I will say, I'm not ashamed to say it, at the first couple times I listened to it, definitely did go over my head. Right. I was just looking at the surface, and thought that he was just trying to bring out the fact that, like, females, there's like this new standard of females being, or guys, I should say, tricking on females. And you can hear that when she said, she's mentioning the type of hair that she needs to get, and talking about that he's down right now, so she's going to go to the next dude because he's up or he's on. That was her word.
Yeah.
But
and if you couldn't get it, at the end of the song, he says, America, you bad bitch. I picked cotton and made you rich. Now this dick ain't free. And then she says, I'm going to get my Uncle Sam to fuck you up. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
I took the whole thing as saying, like, if this country don't change some of the policies, black people, or him in particular, not going to continue to fuck with it like it used to.
Yeah.
I think that's what he meant by this dick ain't free.
Yeah.
You know, so I definitely that was an interesting cut. King Kunta was, you know, that is my shit right there. I can't.
Yeah, that.
I love that.
I can't listen to that one without moving. Like I'm always just bopping and leaving.
Right. That was like initially my favorite cut when I first just listened to it. Just because of the beat. I like the beat. The hook was creative.
Yeah.
I love the hook. You know.
Everybody want to cut their legs off.
Yeah, everybody want to cut the legs off. You know, black man taking no losses. I love that joint. You know, that was a joint. I thought it was interesting. He was rapping like he was James Brown or something.
Exactly.
You know, he touched on a lot of things in that song too. You know, he touched on ghostwriting in the industry.
Oh yeah.
Talking about, you know, how most of these rappers have ghostwriters and sharing bars. You know, he had a lot of good lyrical gems in that song. You know, a lot of them. You know, like, you know, just overall, I thought the album flowed well. That's one thing I could say. It flowed well. The only song I won't say I don't like, because I liked the song up until the
Here we
second
go.
verse.
I already know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
You already know.
Go ahead.
I didn't like the last few bars of The Blacker the Berry, even though overall I liked the song, especially in context with the album. But, you know, I kind of just don't like, just personally, when people conflate, you know, black on black crime or gang violence with police violence, you know, or you know, somebody like Zimmerman killing an unarmed child and getting away with it.
Yeah.
I think it's conflating the issues, and I just hate personally when people do that, because a lot of white supremacists do that. And
yeah, like one has nothing to do with the other. Like they use the violence that already ensues in the black community as some sort of like reason or premise to say that what the police are doing against us is okay. And honestly, what you would call that is fallacies. Those are false things that make you feel like that they continue to bring up. And I don't understand, like you said, like one has nothing to do with the other. So it drives me crazy to hear anybody say that. Like one has nothing to do with the other. So why do you continue to bring this up? And I can't stand the media, or at least mainstream media, as for all those instances where they allow people to use that as an excuse. Because even when they do, you know, during their interviews, they bring up the violence in the black communities or whatever, black on black violence, and no one ever goes at them to say or to correct them, to let them know that that has nothing to do with the other, and it's annoying. Right. So that's the only reason I didn't like that song right there. And it wasn't like the whole song was spin on that. Yeah. And it goes hard. Like the beginning of the song get me in. You know, black don't crack, my nigga. Yeah. You know, and it was interesting, his breakdown on the word nigga too, on the live version of you know, of I. And that was interesting too, because I heard that before. You know, I did my research on that about the origins of the word nigga. And, you know, comes from Africa, we using it wrong. I'm glad he said that. I mean, you could disagree. You could still say that we shouldn't use it. And I think that's a valid point. But I'm glad he brought another perspective into it. Yeah. You know? So I thought that was interesting as well. So you got any closing thoughts on that, on the album as a whole? The album as a whole, I did want to mention something that you mentioned. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go back to something that you mentioned a little bit earlier. You said the fact that, like, you like the fact that Kendrick used each song or the ending of each song to just spit a little piece of the poem, and then at the end, you know, he finally brought it back together. Right. That kind of reminded me, I didn't think about this before, but just now as we were talking about it, it kind of reminded me of like DMX. Remember when DMX, he would have his little interludes and he'll be praying? Yeah. Like, it just brought me back to that. for whatever reason, but that's neither here or there. It was just something I wanted to point out. Overall, I just wanted to let everyone know, if you haven't listened to the album, make sure that you do so. And like I said, don't pick pieces of songs. Of course, you'll find songs that end up being your favorite, but I encourage everyone to go out to listen to it, but then do it sequentially, so it's, you know, you get the full story, and then you can do whatever it is that you may from there. Right.
And basically, I'm just going to close it off with, it was a very creative album. And it's an album you're going to have to listen to multiple times.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like about it, because I love lyrical content. And I like records and songs I can go back to and pick up something new every time I listen to it.
Exactly.
You know, that's a making of a classic. I won't call this album a classic.
Yeah, not just yet. We don't know.
Right. I think you can't be prisoner of a moment. We gotta give it some time to breathe. But I think you got that potential, just because every time I listen to it, I'm picking up on something new. Mm-hmm. Very creative album. There's a lot of different concepts going on at one time. A lot of double, triple meanings of songs in the whole album in general. You know, it got the America theme. It got, you know, just being a black man in the hood theme. The whole Pimp a Butterfly angle with the poems talking to Pac. It got the whole, you know, selling your soul angle, like Lucifer is Lucy.
Lucy, yep.
Couldn't tell whether he meant, you know, Lucy in a male or a female way.
Yeah, it was very androgynous.
Right, and maybe that's what he meant to do with that too, but it had that angle of the album as well. So, you know, basically, just give it a chance if you haven't listened to it. Definitely pick it up and support. Actually buy the album, you know, because we gotta support when artists make real art, even if you don't agree with every single thing.
Very true, and keep that money in our pockets.
No doubt, no doubt. So, I'm going to sign off like I begin it. You know, I'm going to change my voice like I'm Kendrick, do another little voice. So.
Oh man, here we go.
So, don't hate, the audience love it. So, signing off for Always for Black. This is Sue and Miss Baba. Peace.
Good night, everyone.